Jr., who had battles with the kicking net, multiple unsportsmanlike conduct policy, penalties, yacht club, and punching a wall following the loss in the wild card round against the Packers, to name a few. But Beckham told ESPN that he is learning from his mistakes. You learn from it. You grow. You move on. That's life. Stuff happens. You get knocked down and you get back up. That's just always been my mentality. As you get older, you grow and mature, and that should never stop. As soon as you stop growing, you're done living. I'll always be growing, forever learning, forever taking in advice from people I deeply respect. Former Giant Antonio Pierce is here with us. Thank you. It's nice to have some company. I'm a loner out here.
I was wondering where everybody's at. Then I heard, like, they're in L.A., so I'm like, well, look, I live in L.A.
Yeah.
So does that mean I get that same treatment? Like, whenever you guys need me, I can just do this?
Oh, stop it.
I'm just saying.
I mean, you in L.A. most of the time. You got it better than us.
What's that weather like today over there? What's that weather like?
70, sunny, perfect.
Yeah. You want to trade, Antonio?
I'll trade. Actually, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, exactly. All right, you know a little more about Odell Beckham than we do. Do you expect to see a change from him next season?
I think that's going to just happen with the growth of being a now 24-year-old NFL vet. And I'll say this, when he had that talk with Jerry Reese, that conversation just didn't resonate with Jerry Reese, but all the coaching staff and the players, that they need the best Odell Beckham on and off the field, in the locker room. And take nothing for what I'm saying as a negative. The guy loves ball. He loves football. He works hard. He practices hard. But you don't need all the side distractions, right? You don't need the punching the walls. You don't need the little drama on the sideline. And that comes with just the passion of the game. And I appreciate that, especially from an offensive player, him displaying that kind of passion. But when it turns into a negative, now you need to alter how you're doing your things. There's nothing about me right now that says that he will not change with the growth of being an older player, now having a full offseason. And you're going to rewind. I think as a football player, we all sit back and say, what happened during the season to me? And I think he's going to notice that, there were some good times and there were some bad times. And the bad times we talked about a little bit more. So I think with Odell, I do think that conversation with Jerry Reese was very critical for his growth as a New York Giant. Because at the end of the day, they need him to win ball games. They need a very positive Odell. Because when he's rocking and rolling mentally, physically, and emotionally, the Giants are at their high.
Go ahead, Max.
Well, look, stay with me here for a second, okay? I think everyone can relate to this idea, or many people can. You think about the kid as a kid in school, or the kid in school, or at the job, or wherever it is, that doing well matters to them. When they mess up, it affects them. The kid who doesn't do his homework, but who cares about how he does, that's a really bad feeling for that kid. That affects them. The person who wants to do well at the job and screws up, and they care about the job, they want to succeed, they want to get ahead, they want to be on a winning team, when they mess up, it means something to them. And I think that's the kind of guy Odell is, and so he will try to internalize some of the lessons he's learned through experience and to be better and to do better. It seems to me, from everything I'm hearing, and just from some interaction with him, that that's the kind of person he is. The question is, from a football point of view, because, look, I don't expect him to be perfect going forward. He will continue to make mistakes. He's human, and he's an emotional guy. You can see that. So can he, on the margins, affect his behavior and rein it in a little bit and be on the right side of that line? I think that's possible. But the question is, from a football point of view, what is more useful? Ryan Clark brings up the fact on this show and has brought up the fact that Antonio Brown just doesn't care. He's a me guy, right? According to guys in Pittsburgh, it's kind of a sociopath that way, in a sense, on the football field. Like, whatever else is going on, he messed up, he made it difficult for someone else. He doesn't care. He's going to go out and ball. Maybe Odell is the kind of guy, because it means something to him, when he messes up, it actually affects him. When he thinks he didn't do it the right way and he needs to get better from this, maybe that has something to do with him dropping a pass. Maybe putting pressure on himself that way. So the question is, as a football fan, do you want Odell to be the kind of guy who cares and works on it? Or might it be better if he's just like a psycho who just blocks all that stuff out, whatever, not trying to please anyone else? From a human point of view, you have to like the fact that he cares and he wants to work on it, and I think he will improve. Not be perfect, but I think he'll improve.
Well, he'll improve, but I think that, both of you got to pay attention to something that I don't know if you've really thought about. And you've had no reason to think about it, because a guy like Eli Manning hasn't missed a game in 12 years. He's played every single game, all 16 games for the last 12 seasons. It's unbelievable. But at the same time, whether it's a question about his health, future moving forward or his overall production. There have been questions as to whether or not or when the Giants are going to move beyond Eli Manning. Why do I bring that up? Because if you're Odell Beckham Jr., that's going to directly affect you. I loved Odell Beckham Jr. I think he's a big-time player. I've gotten to know him a little bit. I think he's a great guy. He's just immature at times because he's so emotionally invested, not just in the team's success, but his overall individual success. The reason I think we have to pay attention to me bringing up Eli Manning is because whether it's Eli Manning himself, whether it's Reese getting them a running game because they were ranked 29th with their rushing attack with Jennings and Perkins, the fact is that there's going to be some adjustments. There are going to be things that are going to happen in order for this team to improve. Keep in mind that they walked into this postseason. Outside of this postseason, the last 6 out of 7 years, they have missed the playoffs. And so when we look at it from that kind of perspective, we got to sit up there and say, okay, there may be some rough spots moving forward in terms of what they're going to do. The Eagles are going to get better. The Redskins, we presume, may get better. The Dallas Cowboys are not going anywhere. Where may that end up leaving the Giants, even though they spent a boatload of money on the defensive side of the ball? They ain't young spring chickens back there. They got some veterans. They also got guys like Eli Apple and others. I'm just simply saying that if you are Odell Beckham Jr., there are going to be some rough patches. And as a result, how are you going to handle that? Because it's not like the situation that he's going to walk into in the future is going to be the same thing he's been dealing with for the last season or the last 2 years. It's going to change. How is he going to deal with change is a legitimate question.
Yeah, to me, it's the success of the New York Giants is always going to be based for the next few years until they change with that running game is on Odell Beckham. So the matter of fact is he has to change one way or the other. And to me, I do think he cares. And I think he hears and sees and reads everything that's being said about him. And that's why he's responding this way, right? This ain't a guy who's not educated. He's a smart individual. He understands his marketing opportunities. He understands what he can do on and off the field by his character. And I think he does truly care. And you can just watch him near down in the Pro Bowl, man. The guy loves ball. And mostly everybody in that locker room loves Odell. But if it keeps being tiring, it'll be the same kind of rumblings that we're hearing with Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh. You'll hear that in New York if it keeps going this way.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't. So much potential, and you want to see him reach his ultimate potential. Antonio, thank you so much for coming all the way from West Coast to East Coast to be here.
I'm jealous.
We appreciate you. You'll be back there. You'll be back there shortly.
See you tomorrow.
When we come back, the Knicks are working vigorously to trade Carmelo Anthony, even trying to make a deal with the Clippers, in which they don't even want one of the